Hello and welcome to our Strength Level 2 Fitness class option. For today's class, remember, we want you to do just as much as you can. Movement and fitness is very individual and very personal, and we advise you to use these classes as more of a guideline. So if you need to supplement or replace any of the exercises with anything of your own, we definitely encourage that. And remember, if you need to take extra time to complete the exercise or to reduce the numbers, everything is just a recommendation. You can always adjust and make things your own. We do have a timer in the top left-hand corner for our exercises that are timed. And we also have recommended reps for you to do and follow along with. We play videos for you to follow along with during these free offerings as well, as I provide you feedback and coaching for that movement. You do not need any equipment for today's workout, but you should have enough space to do at least a jumping jack or a plank. And we switch from standing to ground exercises throughout the workout, so you should have a setup for both options. We will start with our warm-up. We'll start with our sideline thoracic sweeps. If you've completed our level 1 strength program, these warm-ups are the same. We'll start on one side, and I'll always, if there is a timer, give you a countdown before I start the timer and a countdown when the timer is wrapping up. You want to start with your top knee on an object like a foam roller, or you can go knees together, knees bent at about 90 degrees. We'll start on our first side here. Remember, one at a time. In 3, 2, 1, go. As you do this, you're pretending that you're holding a paintbrush in your top hand, and you're trying to create the world's biggest rainbow with that paintbrush. You want to prioritize keeping your knees together, keeping your knees in contact with the ground, and then secondly, focus on trying to get the hand to the ground. You should feel a stretch through your chest, upper back, middle back, and sometimes lower back and hip. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We will switch sides, starting on this next side in 3, 2, 1, go. As you do this, make sure your eyes or head rotate with you as you open your arm. You don't want to keep your hand and face facing each other as you open. You want your eyes to rotate with the free arm that's moving so that you get some neck rotation here as well. And again, prioritize keeping the knees pressed into the object or the ground. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Our next exercise is the cat-cow, and we'll go for 30 seconds here. We start in a quadruped position. That just means hands and knees, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and toes to the ground. Starting here in 3, 2, 1, go. As you do this, you're rounding as much as you can, arching as much as you can. Don't forget to leave the neck. You want to make sure eyes follow and your neck is part of the spine, trying to move one vertebrae or one piece of your spine at a time, nice and slow, focusing on control. Big, exaggerated, slow movements. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll stay in a quadruped position for our quadruped T-spine rotation, 30 seconds on each side. Pick whatever side you want to start with first. Hand goes behind head or neck. Elbow reaches to your opposite wrist. Turn and rotate. Starting here on our first side in 3, 2, 1, go. Make sure your eyes follow your chest as you move. And big rotations. Rotate through the chest, eyes follow. Keep the hips forward, keep the knees forward. We're trying to isolate your upper back and shoulder region. Standing arms stay straight the whole time. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll switch sides. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Big rotational movements here. Slow, controlled movements. as you open and close. We do recommend that toes are on the ground here. As you can see in the video, we have toes pointed to the floor instead of laces to the floor. However, if your quads or knees feel a big stretch here, you can go laces down. It's just a little harder to balance. 3, 2, 1, and rest. And we'll go standing for our skips. 30 seconds here. Opposite hand and knee, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Remember, stay tall through the chest and nice little skips or hops off the ground. You do not have to skip or march if you're uncomfortable with that impact. You can just stay nice and light and march in place, taking away that skip or hop. We just want to get the blood flowing, increase heart rate a little bit here, and get our opposite side pattern working. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we'll go over our circuit very quickly. We have 5 exercises again. Remember, we offer different rep options, so about 10 for everything except our side planks, which will be 30 seconds, and you can see our round range as well. Our split squat is for lower body strength. So you're going to feel your front leg in the quad, hamstring, and glute. Those are all the major muscle groups. So the top of the leg, the under part of the upper leg, and the glute muscles should all be working during that exercise. We then progress you. So in level 1, we have a hands elevated push-up option. In level 2, we are trying to get your push-up down to the ground for 10 now. If you do need to regress and go back to a hands elevated option to complete this workout, remember, make this your own. That is a decision that is up to you. Then we'll go marching glute bridge, which is for our lower body hamstring strength. Side plank, which is a little bit harder ab core exercise now, and we'll do 30 seconds on one side at a time. And then we have our alternating super person exercise for 10 on each side, and you'll see that, but it's a little bit of an upper back exercise as well as glute. Remember, 4 to 8 rounds. I will take you through 3 rounds. If you want to do more, that is up to you. You decide how many more rounds you want to do to get through the whole program. And we'll begin with round 1. For the exercises that are for reps, so our first exercise, for example, our split squats for 10 reps on each side, you're going at your own pace. So if you're going a little bit faster than I'm going, that's okay, especially this first round while I'm talking a bit more. You can either speed the video along, pause and skip ahead, or if I'm going too fast for you, pause until you finish the right amount or as many as you've decided to do today, and then continue on. We'll start with our split squat for 10 reps on each side. We go half kneeling to start, just to help you with your setup. If you're in a half kneeling position on the ground, your knees are about 90 degrees and your front knee is directly above your front ankle. You'll push straight up, lower straight down for your back knee to be about 1 inch off the ground, and you're staying nice and tall through your upper body. If you haven't already started, make sure you start. You start at your own time as soon as the video starts playing. And you want to feel the weight on your front leg. So the front leg is the one that's getting tired. That's the one where you feel your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes working. If you're feeling your back leg through the quad, the first recommendation is walk your back foot forward slightly. The second recommendation is add a little bit of a forward lean through your torso, so your chest will lean over your front foot without your front knee pushing forward. Third recommendation is make sure your weight is through your front heel, not through your back toe, and not through your front foot toes. If you haven't switched sides already, please make sure you do that. I will keep going. Pause if you need to. For our push-ups, we will do 10 here. You can see that there's a yoga block on the ground just to give you some depth idea. However, it is not necessary. You do not need a yoga block to do this exercise. Hands are underneath the shoulders, maybe a little bit wider for comfort. And you're keeping that hip tuck that we talked about in level 1 during our plank. So if you pretend that you have an imaginary tail, you're trying to tuck your tail between your legs, keeping the abs tight, keeping the glutes tight, and that allows you to maintain solid posture as you lower your hips and shoulders to the ground at the same time and a push away. If you lose that tension through the core as you move up, you'll start to arch your back and the shoulders will lift before the hips. Remember, if you need to go back to a hands elevated option, you can. Next is our marching glute bridge for 10 on each side. Flat on the back, heels push into the ground, hips lift up, and you're going to march one knee at a time towards your chest. As you do that, you're trying to push through the heel still in contact with the ground to lift the hips up even higher. So 10 on each here, go at your own pace, and make sure your lower back is flat. You're doing that by keeping the abs tight, by thinking about pushing your lower back into the ground before you actually lift your hips up. And that's going to help you use hamstrings and glutes, the leg muscles, maybe some core through the abs, but almost nothing through the lower back. So 10 on each side here, alternating because we're marching. And then we'll go to our side plank for 30 seconds on each side. So one side at a time. You start with your elbow underneath your shoulder, and you can see I staggered my feet in this video. However, if it's more comfortable for you to stack one foot on top of the other, you can do that. You want to keep your hips as high as possible, and I'll give you a little bit of a countdown, starting on our first side in 3, 2, 1, go. Lift the hips up high. I like to pretend that there's a string that goes from the ceiling all the way down to my top hip, and it's trying to pull and lift my hip away from the ground. So you create a nice little arch or doorway underneath your bottom ab. That is the muscle you should be feeling, is that bottom ab, maybe some bottom shoulder as well, because that's helping stabilize your body. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll switch sides. Starting on this next side in 3, 2, 1, go. Lift the hips up. Pull that imaginary string up to the ceiling. You're trying to find your bottom ab, maybe some bottom shoulder. And you can play with arm position if you're not feeling the right thing. Unless you have a mirror in front of you, you can't be sure of where your hand is. So play with it. Bring your elbow closer down towards your body. Push it out away. And just focus on trying to find that ab. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll go to our alternating super person next for 10 on each side. We start on our bellies facing the ground, and then you'll pick up your opposite hand and foot towards the ceiling. As you do this, you're keeping your belly button pressed into the ground and trying to isolate your hip and your shoulder. Everything else should be flat. And again, if you haven't started this, make sure you do. You're just alternating side to side for 10 on each, or 20 total. Your chest will move as you pick up your arms slightly, but keep the belly button pressed to the floor. Feeling upper back, feeling some glute, and we'll keep going. Now we're going to start round 2. This round's going to be a little bit faster than round 1, so if you need to pause, please make sure you do. We'll start with our split squats, 10 on each side, 1 foot forward, tippy toe on the back foot. In our half kneeling position, you're going to press through the floor, stand straight up, and then you're just moving down and up, keeping your front knee in a little box so it doesn't go too far forward, too far back, or sideways, in or out. Front foot stays flat. Keep your weight through your heels, and if you haven't switched sides already, make sure you do. Straight down, straight up. I like to imagine I'm in an elevator here, and the elevator is pulling my hips and shoulders in a straight line down, and then pushing up in the same straight line. We'll go to our push-ups next for 10. Lower the chest and hips down together, push away. Stay nice and strong. Keep the belly button to the spine, keep the hip tuck. And you want elbows to be at about 90 degrees at the bottom. That's why that yoga block is there, just to give me a kind of like when we use our chair in our squats, to make sure that I'm staying consistent through my depth for every rep. And we'll keep going to our marching glute bridge for 10 on each side. So we're flat on the back, one knee up to your chest, come back down, keep the hips high. The hips stay off the ground the whole time. And you're trying to keep your belly button pulled to your spine. That's the same movement you get when you push your lower back to the ground as you're laying on your back. You're keeping that position as you lift the hips up and march. Hands are just relaxed to your side. And onto our side plank for 30 seconds on each side. Elbow under shoulder, lift the hips high. Starting here in 3, 2, 1, go. Feet can be stacked or staggered. This video is staggered, so one foot in front of the other. Stacked is one foot on top of the other. And you're picturing that imaginary string, pulling your hips to the ceiling, trying to rotate your sternum so it's parallel to the floor. We have about 10 more seconds on this side. And you want your chest to be in a straight perpendicular line. Same thing with the hips. You don't want the hips to close forward or open backwards. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll switch sides starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So chest is perpendicular to the ground, hips are perpendicular to the ground. That means it's just a straight line down. You don't want them to be at an angle. And create that bottom ab arch. Hips far away from the ground. That's going to help you give a bigger arch. Your top hand can rest on your hip or reach to the ceiling, whatever's comfortable. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, alternating super person, 10 on each side, belly buttons on the floor, opposite hand and foot. Begin whenever you're ready, and it's 10 on each side here. Picking up opposite hand and leg. And we'll keep going to round number 3. This is the last round I will take you through. Remember, at the end of this, we recommend that you do a minimum of 4 rounds, so make sure you get in at least one more. If you're feeling really good, do as many as you want up until 8 rounds. We'll start with our split squats, 10 on each. Start in our half kneeling position. Stand straight up like you're in an elevator. Keep your weight on your front leg and keep going. We want to feel front leg quad, front leg hamstring, front leg glute, all the major muscle groups. And you should feel almost nothing on the back leg. If you haven't switched sides already, make sure you do. And you're just going at your own pace here, not too fast. If you go slow, you're going to get more muscle contraction. Really isolate which muscles you're feeling. And we'll go to our push-ups for 10. Hands about shoulder width, maybe a little bit wider, maybe a little bit closer. Everybody's a little bit different. Just remember, keep your tail tuck, keep your belly button pulled to your spine, move the hips and shoulders together. And if at any point you need to elevate the hands again, you're more than welcome to do that. You can also always drop down to the knees, but it's the same rule. Hips and shoulders have to move together. We'll go to our marching glute bridge for 10 on each side. So flat on the back, one knee to chest. Keep the hips high, and you're keeping your belly button pulled to your spine here. Just like you're trying to squish the floor underneath your lower back. 10 on each or 20 total. And as your heel pushes to the ground and you pull your other knee towards your chest, you're trying to push your hips even higher. See how much hamstring and glute you can feel, all the muscles in the back of the leg. And then we have our side plank, starting on our first side in 3, 2, 1, go. Hips up high, chest is forward, hips are forward, feet can be staggered or stacked, and you're trying to create that arch in the bottom ab. About 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Switch sides, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Your shoulders should be in a straight line here as well. So your shoulders are in one line stacked above one another. If your bottom elbow or shoulder or your top shoulder is rotated or twisted or too far forward, too far back, that will change what you're feeling. And remember, we want to feel that bottom ab, maybe some bottom shoulder. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, last one for alternating super person, 10 on each side. Keep the belly button pushed to the floor. We're lifting from the glute and from the shoulder blade. 10 on each. 20 total. And you're trying to keep your lower back and belly button pressed to the floor the whole time. And once you get about 10 on each, you can keep going. So here is what our class schedule looks like right now. We're always adding to these classes, so make sure you check out our crossoverhealth.com/classes as seen in this bottom corner. This will have the most recent live class schedule. These classes are totally free, and you can see we offer a variety of options. We offer HIIT, resistance training, yoga class. We even offer Qigong and a posture fundamentals class taught by our physical medicine providers. So our chiropractors and physical therapists take you through different exercises that can help you with your posture muscles, that help you if you're having back soreness or shoulder soreness, or you're struggling because you're sitting at your desk a lot. These exercises will help you get through that, and it's all based around the same methodology. So you'll be getting similar exercises from class to class with the same approach. If you have any questions, please make sure to reach out to your crossover providers. We're here to help however we can. Make sure you're getting lots of movement. Remember that one of these routines a week is not enough. So follow the guidelines given to you by your provider. If you're in a program that you're tracking these minutes to get your tracking on spot, and you're following the guidelines to make sure you're getting enough movement throughout the week. Make sure you get a lot of water, lots of good food, lots of good sleep. And if you have any questions, we do offer personal training with Crossover Health. If you're interested about that, you can always reach out to fitness@crossoverhealth.com, or if you have questions about any of the exercises that we did today, please feel free to reach out to us as well. We're here to help however we can. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the future, hopefully in one of our classes. Thanks.